out there, and thanks for joining us again on Public Conscience on Radio, the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. We are supported by the MacArthur Foundation. I'm Okiri Agbonsurimi, and Adaobi Obeabumo, my co-anchor, is right in here.
Thanks for joining us on the program. On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our media partner organizations and drawing citizens and government's attention for democratic actions against it.
And today, we are glad to be back to the issue of electricity distribution in Nigeria. Of course, we have in the past taken a look at the distribution networks, talking about the discos, the work of the NERC, and every stakeholder in this entire business. And what are we locating? We are locating corruption in the process. Estimated billion. Why are we glad? We are glad because our campaigns in conjunction with other stakeholders to stop the corruption inherent in the estimated billions by the discos is paying off. From February 20 this year, just last week, it has become illegal for discos to bill electricity consumers under estimated billions above a particular amount. They call it capping.
Yes, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission has capped the bills the discos can give to consumers under estimated billings. The discos are not happy, and they are not likely to tell you. It is very technical, but we assure you that by the time we are through with this program today, you will know where you stand and how to defend your rights.
And in defending your rights, you need to have the facts. Remember that you can follow us on our social media platforms at official PRIMOG. PRIMORG is the spelling of PRIMOG. We are streaming live on Facebook. You can join us on our PRIMOG page, and you can watch our videos later. And you have actually a harvest of videos on our YouTube channel, PRIMOG TV. Our WhatsApp line is 090 22656167. That is 090 22656167. You can begin to drop your message right now because we want you to be part of the program. But that line is essentially for messages.
After so much complaints and campaigns, including the threats by the National Assembly to criminalize estimated billings, NERC has introduced the capping of electricity bills for those under the estimated billings. We have maintained that estimated bills spin corruption. And you will recall that on this program, we insisted that the discos provide meters for all consumers.
Are the consumers aware? What is capping and how does it work? What are the objectives? We have in the studios Uket Obong of the Nigeria Electricity Consumers Advocacy Network to join us. He's been on the turf for a very, very long time. He's familiar with all the facts, and he has himself, through his organization, intervened by being proactive in making suggestions to NERC on how to solve these problems. We want to thank you so very much for joining us on the program, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Kira.
Be ready to interact with us as usual and prepare your questions.
Mr. Uket Obong, we want to start by asking, what is capping?
Thank you very much. Capping simply means placing a ceiling or limit to what the discos can bill an unmetered electricity consumer.
Does capping also extend to what the council supplies so that they take both of them? under this arrangement?
Capping talks of invoicing. To invoice, that is the amount of money you are expected to collect and not the energy you are giving the customer. It has nothing, they have not talked, it has not touched that area.
Okay.
They're only concerned with what you can pay and not what they are giving you.
Take us to where we are coming to this, because the map, which we just saw, we are entering capping. Now tell us, you just give us a brief story of how we got to this place.
Well, the issue of capping estimated billing or estimated bills has been on for a very long time. To begin with, you have to understand capping from this point of view. Estimated bills or estimating electricity bills is provided for in the disconnection regulation of 2007. And the meter reading, billing, cash collections, and Credit Management Regulation of 2012. It provides for how to estimate electricity bills on the following grounds. One, where a metered customer makes his or her premises inaccessible. For instance, there are dogs there, and the agent of the utility company that's supposed to come and read that meter is prevented from gaining access into that premises. The distribution company can do what?
Estimate.
Go estimate your bill. That's number one. Number two, when a meter is faulty and
The consumer continues to consume electricity.
the utility company has 72 hours to replace a meter, a faulty meter.
But what
And within that period, if nothing is done, they are permitted to do what?
Estimate.
To estimate bills. Now, when you connect electricity into a premises that has no meter, and of course the regulation says before you connect electricity to any building or premises at all, you do it with what? Meter. But when it came to Nigeria here, we got this privatization issue. They threw everything to the winds, and they were doing as they please. So that is where the abuse of estimated bills, the abuse that provision that I mentioned, they abused it massively.
Now, the abuse is what we're actually concerned about, because many of the consumers actually say they don't think they consume particular amount, and they are billed based on the discretion of the discos. They just come and say, oh, we believe you have consumed this, and that's what we have been chasing. That look, consumers are complaining that they in some instances they travel, and when they come back, they didn't use any light, and they meet a bill. Now, these are the things we are looking. Let us look at what this capping, this capping will do to this abuse that we have. Will it be able to solve the abuse?
Yes, if it is done properly. Capping is welcome. We have been agitating for bills given to unmetered customers to be capped. Place a limit on what they can pay, because it is only the meter that measures supply and consumption.
Yes.
Only the meter, no other equipment. So if there is no meter and you are to estimate, you don't do it arbitrarily.
Which is actually what
is going on right now.
Yeah.
The reason why the discos saw estimated bills are the low-hanging fruits, they can reach out and plug without any cost to themselves, without effort, is because the system allowed it. One, they put in place a methodology, what they say they have repealed, 2008 methodology for estimated billing.
Yes.
And in chapter 3 of that methodology, it says it provides for how to bill unmetered three-phase customers, unmetered. It provides for how to bill unmetered low voltage, high voltage, maximum demand customers. Let me use, and he provided a template, a simple arithmetic formula that you should use to determine this.
Were they ever followed?
They were not followed. The discos were doing as they please. They look at your building, they look at your personality, or you are living in Maitama, and they just say, okay, this is a big building, give them 2 million. This one is, they even went to the extent of not giving out bills to communities. I was in the Delta State, Udu local government, and we surveyed 39 communities, and we discovered that they were not giving them bills. They were just writing this community. Okay, the MD of Chevron is from here, so give them 6 million. MD will pay. In Anambra, the same thing.
Now let's come back. Let's come back to this one.
Well,
will this capping solve the problem?
If NERC is able to enforce compliance, to ensure compliance.
Okay, we'll be coming to compliance.
Because
now,
it's not all about issuing orders.
We will definitely task you to, from your experience, to tell us if you believe it can be complied. But we'll come to that. Let's look at what this one means to the consumers. What does it mean to the consumers?
We welcome wholeheartedly capping estimated bills, if only the discos will comply. Because apparently there was nothing wrong with the methodology for estimated billing. It provided a guide. You want to estimate energy consumption for this building. it stated that he said you must use what they call load measurement method. And load measurement method means you go and take the reading of the current, the voltage, and key it into a formula that says to calculate kilowatt hours. This is the formula, and everything is provided for, which is global. It is not only for Nigeria. It's global in America, in UK, in Russia. This formula stands all over the world. But they fail to use it because if they do that, maybe they will not be Nigerians.
Okay, but what are the benchmarks for this new capping?
Let's go to the details. Let us see exactly what it is. We'll come to whether it can work. But let us look at what it has. What are the benchmarks?
If you look at the order, it considered 3 areas, and they picked the one that we believe is beneficial to
The consumers. The discos.
Why? Yes. Because you can't be telling me here that, take for instance in Abuja here, let's use Abuja as a case because they can respond, they are hearing us, they can respond. From this Schedule 1 of monthly energy cap for AEDC, take Lokogoma. They say Lokogoma, you cap their estimated bills for not more than or less than 280 kilowatt hours. 200 for R2.
What does that mean?
In other words,
because the listener also want to hear this one in Naira and Kobo.
Okay.
That also break it down.
We can do the arithmetic. If now, currently, the cost of 1 kilowatt hour for R2 is 24 Naira 30 Kobo.
Yes.
So if you multiply 24 Naira 30 Kobo by 282 plus 7.5% VAT,
yes,
that will give you an idea of what you will pay.
I'll be hearing about 1,800. What does that mean?
The 1,800 is an illustration. That was not what they said. If you have a customer in a location of a customer XYZ, and you cap his consumption at 98. Okay. 98 unit or 80, whatever unit they put there, and multiply by 42.
You get 200, 1,000.
1,000. That is an illustration, an example they cited. That is not.
So the public should not go with the impression that...
No. Public should not go. It is not that estimated bills will be
1,800.
They have each distribution company from what they have done here, like Abuja I have before me here. All the locations, Ado, Akwanga, Apo, Asokoro, they have it. For instance, Asokoro, if you are capping estimated bill, it must not be less than 616 kilowatt hours.
But how does the consumer know the electricity they consume, the kilowatts they consume, for them to calculate?
It's education. No provisions in this order to create awareness, educate. It's you now that you are doing the job of NERC and the discourse. But if you go into the performance agreement, there's provisions there for this sensitization, awareness, and education. But you are doing it for them. If Nigerians know and they rise up, they know they will do the right thing. But keep them in ignorance, keep them in the dark, and you go ahead and do whatever you feel like.
Because since yesterday, I've been trying to read the order and looking at all those figures, and I can tell you that even me, I found it difficult to calculate. Look at the kilowatts that we supplied, multiplied by so amount of money. How will the consumer?
Yes.
Well, because you represent the consumer network.
Yes, every service center, like you have the service centers around Lokogoma or Asokoro, if they are going to estimate your electricity bill, for Asokoro they said it must not be more than or less than 616 kilowatt hours or units. And if it is on R2, that is residential 2. Residential 2 is the subclass of residential customers. You have residential 1, residential 2, residential 3. In other discos, I'm talking of Abuja disco here. In other discos, you have R2S, that is R2 single phase. S stands for single phase. R2T, it stands for 3-phase. You understand? Now, if you are to calculate, if the distribution company is to calculate estimated bill for a resident whose meter is faulty, whose meter or does not have a meter, and they are to give him estimated bill, they are going, by this cap, the limit you can give him is 616 kilowatt hours. Multiply that by the current rate, tariff rate of 24 Naira 30 Kobo, plus 7.5% VAT. That should give you the bill for the month.
Now, I don't really want to get our listeners, those who are also viewing us on our Facebook, those are watching on our YouTube channel confused. I still want you to help us break it down the more. And we are going to be breaking it down because these are the consumers are ordinary people. Some of them are not as lettered as we are. Some of them are even lettered, but when it comes to matters like this, like me, I don't find it easy to really understand. Maybe we'll break it down a little before we begin to take their calls and look at where do they get this information? Where do they get the kind of information they require? Are the discos under this new order mandated to provide them information? Can they on their own, as your own group, are there places people can go to understand what? And then secondly, when they say it's taking effect from February, it has come into be February 20 and it's taking place effect from April 1st?
April 1st.
April 1st. What does it mean to everybody?
It means to the customer out there, from the 1st of April, when this order comes into effect, you are living in a place like, say, Jikoi. You don't have a meter. The Abuja Distribution Electricity ADC will give you units, not more than 101. This is what has been approved for them to give to customers in Jikoi, 101 units. 101 units. Okay. 101 units is what will appear on your bill, your estimated bill. And that, if you translate that to Naira and Kobo, we can do the arithmetic here in the studio, multiply 101 times 24 Naira, 30 Kobo. If by that date, by 1st of April, they are not increased tariff, because they are talking of increasing tariff from the 1st of April. AEDC has proposed a range of increases. From 35 Naira to 67 Naira 89 Kobo.
So is that one will actually meet up with this and it will wipe out?
It will wipe out
it's
whatever.
Likely to wipe out whatever.
So assuming, okay, let us assume that AEDC increases tariff by 30 Naira on the 1st of October. Then you multiply 101 for customers living in Jikoi, 101 units by 30. This is an assumption. This is an assumption. That is not what is provided for. We don't yet know.
For the purpose of
purposes of explanation. For you to understand. The tariff rate, assuming it is 30 Naira. I'm not saying it is 30 Naira. We want just to use it to make this arithmetic and for clarity purposes. Multiply 30 Naira by 101.
That's 3,030 Naira.
Plus 7.5% VAT.
I don't know if that will be but in any case, you are at home because we don't actually have the time. You have an idea what we're trying what we are trying to do. Yeah. So look out for information. And I can also tell you that if you go to NERC website, please let us not be lazy. Go to NERC website. NERC is NERC, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission. We printed out this copy from their website. It is there for you to study. Tell somebody at the business center close to you to print them out for you. They will print them out for you. Go look for somebody in the electricity disco that is close to you, wherever you are, in Anambra State, in Asaba, in Lagos, wherever you are. Take that copy to them. Tell them to explain to you so that from April 1 you don't come under the cheating. But again, watch out for the increments that the various discos are putting into they are drumming up. They want to increase the amount of money to be received so that they can get more money from you even with this capping. But again, let me just ask you before we open the phone. This is actually to compel the discos to provide meters. One of those outcomes that we are likely to see. Are we likely to see this?
Well, compelling discos to provide meters has been there. To begin with, in the beginning, these discos licensees were registered to provide meters, services that the federal government of Nigeria said they were unable to provide for customers. And the number one thing that the discos were signed, if you look into the performance agreement, is to provide meters. And here in Abuja, in 2016, December 16th, December 22nd, we were gathered somewhere near ShopRite at Apo, and AEDC were launched by the Minister of FCT. They launched 500,000 meters. In 2018 or 17, they launched 10 billion naira meters. Where are the meters? The next week, they came up with a map. So there's a whole lot of confusion. Okay. It is the responsibility and the duty of the distribution companies to meter electricity consumers. But because they are making more money from estimated bills, if I tell you of the report we got from the three states of Jigawa, the three states of Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara, we surveyed about 2,000 customers who were on estimated bills. They were on estimated bills, and later they got meters. And we said, okay, what were you paying when you were on estimated bills? And what are you paying? We discovered that when they were on estimated bills, they were paying 75 to 80% higher than what they are now paying.
So the meters is capable of removing...
It's a meter that should measure what you consume and you pay.
All right.
Okay. We are now inviting you, our listeners, to the discussion. Tell us what you think about this new policy.
The phone lines to send your messages. This is just for messages only. 090-2265-6167. Again, this is just for messages only. Just drop messages and we'll read it out. So begin to send your messages now to this number. We have callers already. Hello.
Hello, my name is Paul. I'm calling from Buhari.
Yes, you have heard all the stories. Are you under estimated billing?
Yes, I'm under estimated billing.
Tell us.
Now, what I want to say is that this capping issue, we are among to still cheating us as customers. Because, are you with me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, because the AEDC, we want to be operating on the maximum capping. And wherein, like where I am living, we have load shedding because of our transformer. We have to get supply for 2 days and go on for 1 day. Now, majority of times we only have supply for 1 out of the 2 days we ought to have. Meaning in 10 days, it's only when we will have supply. And now they are going on the capping, which will be maximum. Then I will see at losing.
Okay, our guest will definitely respond to that. How do we solve this situation where if I don't have light, they will give us the maximum on the capping formula? Hello.
Hello, my name is Benga.
Yeah, Benga, thank you.
Yes, when I was on estimate billing, I was paying 15,000 for 1 month. When I got my meter, I used 5,000 naira for 3 weeks, which shows that the estimate billing is a fraud. The rip-off for the customer. So now that they say they are putting a ceiling, there should be another law of that whosoever pay for meter, because now they say there is no meter. That pay for meter should not be given bill until they meter him. So when you pay for meter, this will hold the money and they will still come and be serving estimated billing. I think that should be that caveat that once somebody pay for meter, no more billing until they get his meter.
Okay. Well, my guest is taking note. He will also respond to that. Hello.
Hello. My name is Ambassador. I'm calling you from Google City.
Go ahead.
Actually, I'm one of the people that benefited from the meter after a serious tug of war in estimated billing. So my own view is that it's in two perspectives. The first thing is that estimated billing is fraud to some consumers. Why it pays some consumers? Because in my own area now, you will see a single building that, residents about 10 rooms or even 15 rooms under a single bill. And then the way they bring a bill for them, a generated bill, that is a uniform bill. Even if you are using 2-bedroom now, or we have 3 boys quarters, or you have 4 boys quarters only, and with 1 bill, they will bring the same amount of money for them. So invariably, the people who have many join, which is common in most of the slum environments, You understand? It pays them. But at the end of the day, individual will pay 1,000 naira, 500 naira. And they are using hot plates, they are using all irons, they are using electric board, what all those stuff. So at the end of the day,
So what do you think? What are you saying? Are you saying that they should not
never use even 2,000 naira in a month?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Joseph. I'm calling from Abuja here.
Go ahead, Joseph.
You see, the problem of this AEDC is not about the money increase or not increase. We should tell ourselves the truth. The AEDC staff, if AEDC staff did not come to work for 3, 4, 5 days, can the manager of that area pay him his salary?
What are you trying to explain?
Right. You pay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I have to try to drive the jive home. Hello.
My name is Ojo.
Okay, Ojo, go ahead.
I'm calling from Central area now, but I reside in Juice along Buhari Road.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, since the inception of the HPC, we have been having estimated billing in Bakaranta.
Yeah, with this capping now, do you think this capping will assist the people in the area?
I don't think so.
Why?
It's like the NERC want to use that capping to brainwash Nigeria. It's the thing they're supposed to do last and do it first. Now you are giving us the capping. At the same time, you want to increase the tariff rate. Now, what happened by April ND if we did not get the meter? They will begin to pay. And from your guess now, the capping is not even across the board. It's a different calculation. Now, I wanted to ask, do I send the message to your WhatsApp? What is the capping for this area? Along Buhari Road. That's another issue. Then in my area, since the inception, we have been doing load shedding. We have been rationalizing it 2 days off, 1 day on. And look at it now, since November, the life has been worse. Even the 2 day on now, we cannot even get it even in 5 hours in a day.
All right. We will get. Also, take a note of your question. I think this is classified under Cuba. It's not classified under Cuba. We will be responding to it. Unfortunately, we cannot go around everywhere to tell you what is the capping for everywhere. That's why we have advised you to go to the website and draw down this document so that you can have your own calculation. Hello, your name? Are you under estimated billings?
My name is Thomas Mishak. I'm calling from Asokoro. Yes, I am, sir.
Go ahead.
I reside in Airport Road. Actually, as of last month, I got a bill of 38,000 naira. And I paid 30,000 naira because I didn't pay completely. It led to the disconnection of my light. I went to the operator and complained, and they say I should pay the balance. They will come and reconnect it.
But they don't have a right. But they don't have a right under our rules. Under our rules of engagement, they don't have a right to just come and disconnect you. I hope I'm right, my guest.
Yes.
They don't have a right. No disco has a right to just come and disconnect your on the basis of say you have not paid. There are procedures that are required. So were you warned before?
It's okay, sir. But what I want to ask now is this. If you get an estimate bill, where will you complain to that they will hear from you? Because you told them most of the time they will not listen to you. Is there any approval that one can lay a complaint?
Yeah, we will tell you about that, and right away I would let you know that the first thing you should do is to do a letter of complaints to the disco in your area. There's always an office close to you. Do a letter, make photocopies of all the documents and send it. Get acknowledgement copy. If the disco in your area neglects to respond to you, you have the NERC forum to go. You can go to the NERC forum. There's a NERC forum in every state in Nigeria that you can go to and say this. You can take a decision. And we can tell you that the Peggy community, for instance, in Abuja, have been battling because they took ADC to the NERC forum. They have gotten results, and NERC has said they are going to insist on the implementation of the results of the order that they have. So if it is for you to take the steps, complain first to the disco, and then you go to the NERC forum if you are not satisfied. There are issues that have been raised, and all of them border on relationship between the consumer and the disco, supply, no supply, the bill will come. Some of them don't even believe that this capping will solve their problems.
Well, apparently there are inherent dangers we have picked from this capping. Like he said, or you just said. Capping is going to give the discos the blank check to issue bills to consumers and areas they did not supply electricity.
No, in any case, they have been doing that anyway.
They have been doing that.
Yes. This is just...
and if you pick any bill, for instance, here in Abuja, it is written in all the estimated bills. They will tell you your bill will either increase or decrease based on the quantum of energy supplied in your area. The implication of that is that if you lock up your apartment and travel for 1 month,
the bill will still come.
The bill will still come. And now, capping here, the way they are going to interpret it and implement it, if NERC is unable to enforce compliance and check this in, because there's no provision in this order for what I'm saying. You travel, you lock up your apartment, you go wherever after 2 or 3 months you come back, you meet bills. And when they say NERC gave us order to cap.
We supply light to your area.
We supply light to your area.
Yes.
Whether you use it
or you don't use it.
That is number 1. Number 2, load shedding. If you look at the template provided in that repeal methodology, which for me as an individual, I'm not happy about, it says if you are to determine the bill you are giving to an unmetered customer, you consider, apart from the current, the voltage, you must consider the power factor, the load factor, the number of hours supplied. Number of hours supplied.
Capping has.
There is no provisions here.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So these are the areas the discos will exploit and explore and exploit consumers, because it was not well thought out. And I must say, this capping was just done, I think it's an afterthought, though they came up with this consultation paper, I think 2018, June, about 2018, June, they came up, they were silent. Now that because of pressure on them from the discos to increase tariff, they rushed with this one, that they know they are not in a position to implement it, enforce implementation and compliance. So is the consumers that will be exploited. One, somebody say they give them light for 2 days, they take for 1 day. In other words, if you are giving them light for 20 days in a month, do you still give him on supply that is supposed to be on 24/7?
Now, you have repeatedly said that if the NERC implements, if they enforce, that has been a line that you have been saying.
Yes, but there is no provision.
Let us look at it. Is it possible that NERC will come up with a thing like this and they will not think of how to enforce? And if they do not enforce, what becomes of this document?
Number 1, as presently constituted, I have said it over and over in various fora, NERC does not have the capacity. We just want 177,000 staff seated in Abuja here. There is no NERC office, apart from the forum offices in 30 states, in 29 states, because Lagos has 2 forum offices, Eko Disco and Ikeja Disco. There are forum offices in 29 states of the Federation. And NERC is only operating from Abuja with limited number of staff. They are not in a position to implement. There is no one order of NERC that have been implemented. In fact, NERC came up with a report here by January. They say in 6 quarters from January 2018 to June 2019, that all the performance indicators and all the performance agreement signed by this thing, that none was implemented by the discos. And yet, they are issuing this.
If you are even talking about the laws or orders that they make, they cannot implement. We have one here in the studio. We have one here, right, yes. Right in my hand now. This the Peggy community took Abuja Disco to their forum,
right.
And they gave an order that, judging by the contribution of this community, the amount of money they have spent in providing infrastructure, that AEDC should provide them, basic to specific, provide them with meters, and they should consider putting their money into, because they have spent their funds, yes. Put those contributions into meters. The Peggy community have been writing to NERC to enforce. I can tell you that the best they can get is a letter that has come from NERC office February 21, telling the Peggy community that we will try to enforce over 3-4 years that this decision has been taken. So I agree with you that NERC has a problem.
They don't have capacity
I don't know if they have they can just back, but they cannot.
They can't buy.
They cannot buy. And the reason NERC cannot bite, and I will say it, we have said it on this program, is because the system is compromised, and anybody can go and take note. NERC gets money from the discos.
Of course.
They get money from the discos. So when they collect money from you through estimated billings, there's a percentage that goes legally, legitimately. We are not saying that they can take it through the back door. No. So the law, that the structure of law that has been set up, is inherently fraudulent.
Yes, that is why we have been advocating and asking the federal government to review these models. All the models that were used for the privatization exercise are overdue to be reviewed. You can't continue. There is a distrust between other operators in the value chain, like GENCOs, TCN, NBET, and the rest, system operator, market operators. They have been complaining that the discos are not remitting the amount of money they were really collecting. Why is this so? And we have suggested that the CBN should come in and explore the account of these discos. Let us know. Let there be a task force that will monitor each disco, what they are collecting. Because as it stands now, if the discos collect, say, 60%, they can declare 30%.
Yes.
And nobody's interested. And there is no mechanism in place to checkmate this. So they do as they please.
Okay. We will follow up. I can tell you that.
The questions these fellows asked, let me
just quickly, because we must wrap up now.
Yeah. On the Asokoro man who said this one, Airport Road, he said complaint of say so. If you have a complaint, for crying out loud, don't just walk to the service center or the market person around you. Write it down.
Yes.
Write it down and ensure that you have an acknowledgement copy. There is a process, a mechanism for dispute resolution. It is your right to complain.
But most Nigerians, they just go complain. They don't write.
Go complain. Yeah, write it down and make sure that you have what? An acknowledged copy. They must stamp it. I am aware that in some rural areas within LCT and other areas, they refuse to accept these complaints. The next step you take when they refuse or when they do nothing at the customer care unit or area office, you write directly to the MD CEO. If they do nothing and there is time limit, 72 hours or 7 working days, they must respond. And it is your right for them to investigate your complaint and attend to you. If they fail, the forum office is there. And if the forum office, we are aware, I took a matter there in July. They gave ruling in July here in Abuja, July 31st. Until this moment, they have not. And they were given 20 days to implement. They have not done that.
So why are you encouraging people to write and pass through these processes?
So when the lawyers came to me and said they should go to court.
Okay.
Yes.
You have the document.
Yes, you have the document.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to go to court.
But the NERC complaint center in Abuja is 0814 686 2225. 0814 686 2225.
We encourage you to leave a message for us. Remember that you can also contact us. We also have links both to the ADC and NERC. If you send your complaints to us, we forward them. We just forward them, but let them be detailed. Let us have your names. There are other details that accompany your meter and every other. Your contract number on your meter, we need to know so that we can forward your complaints to AEDC wherever they are, and they will call you with your phone number on it.
Please visit the news page of our website, which is news.primorg.org, news.primorg.org, for all the details of our reports and interviews. Our videos are on our YouTube channel. Please click the subscribe button to get regular reminders. Visit our website, primorg.org, to get all the information about Primorg.
When you go to our website, navigate very well, you get information. If you don't have information, please send a message to our number. Please remember that you can join our team as volunteer. Go to our website, fill the volunteer form on our website, or drop a message on our phone 090-2265-6167 for us to include you on our WhatsApp platform, the Primorg Forum.
We want to thank everyone that participated in this conversation and ensure you stay vigilant. Be a responsible citizen by paying your electricity bills and avoiding all illegal connections.
And many thanks to our guest, Obong of the Nigeria Electricity Consumers Advocacy Network. He has also said that His organization is also out there. If you reach us, we will send your details to them, and they will be able to respond to whatever inquiries you have. Public Conscience on Radio is supported by the John T. and Katri D. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information at their website at macfound.org.
I am Adaobi Obiabomo. Join us again next week for another episode of Public Conscience on Radio.
And remember to support and join us to promote integrity in our advocacy for good governance in Nigeria. My name is Okiri Agbonsuremi.